Something happened the moment you pressed play on this video, and I need you to understand the weight of what I am about to tell you. The universe did not allow you to find this by accident. There is no algorithm powerful enough, no recommendation system sophisticated enough, no sequence of clicks random enough to have brought you here on your own. What pulled you to this exact moment was not curiosity. It was not boredom. It was not even free will in the way most people understand it. A force older than time itself reached into the fabric of your day, into the middle of your noise, your distractions, your scrolling, your searching, and it redirected your eyes here, right now. And before you dismissively laugh that off or explain it away with logic, I want you to feel something for a moment. Feel how different this moment already is from everything else you encountered today. Feel how something in your chest shifted the second those first words reached you. That shift is not coincidence. That shift is confirmation. Something impossibly powerful just happened to you, and you are only beginning to understand what it means. In all of recorded spiritual history, across every civilization that ever prayed, every temple that ever burned incense, every prophet that ever walked barefoot on sacred ground, there is one truth that remains untouched and absolute. The divine does not speak directly to just anyone. Mystics fasted for 40 days in the wilderness, hoping for a single whisper. Monks surrendered entire lifetimes of silence, praying for one moment of genuine contact. Ancient seers climbed mountains, sat in caves, endured suffering beyond description, all for the chance that heaven might glance in their direction. And yet here, in the middle of an ordinary day, without a mountain, without a fast, without a ritual, the divine reached through every layer of noise in your life and said your name. Not a crowd, not a congregation, not a movement. You. That is cosmically impossible by every standard spiritual history has ever known. The gates that once required decades of devotion to approach have opened for you without ceremony. And the reason they opened is not because the rules changed. It is because you are not who you think you are. What is happening to you right now has never happened this way before, and the universe itself is watching to see if you receive it. Now let me bring this closer, because this is not abstract theology, and it was never meant to stay in the clouds. Think back, not far, just recently, to a moment where you faced a choice that nobody else saw. Maybe it was a conversation where you could have lied and nobody would have known. Maybe it was a situation where you could have taken something, kept something, hidden something, and the world would have moved on completely unbothered. Maybe it was a moment where someone hurt you and you had every justification in the world to retaliate, to expose them, to burn it all down, and instead you went quiet. You chose differently. You chose the harder, lonelier, less rewarded path. And in that moment, you probably felt nothing supernatural. You probably felt the sting of doing right with no applause. You may have even questioned whether integrity was worth it when it cost you so much and gave you so little in return. But what you did not know in that moment, what you could not have seen with human eyes, was that your choice did not go unnoticed. It echoed. It traveled somewhere beyond the room you were standing in. And what is happening to you right now is the direct response to what you chose when no one was watching. What I am about to tell you is the part that changes how you see everything that has happened to you, and I need you to receive it without fear. You have been watched, not in a way that should frighten you, but in a way that should finally explain why your life has felt different, why you have never quite fit, why certain things kept happening around you that had no rational explanation. There are forces in this world, both dark and divine, that have had their attention on you for longer than you have been aware of yourself. The darkness watched you because it recognized something in you it could not afford to ignore. It sent distractions. It sent people designed to drain you. It sent circumstances engineered to break your belief in yourself. And yet you are still here. And on the other side, light has been watching too, not with suspicion, but with the quiet, patient attention of something that already knows how the story ends. Every test you were put through, every moment of isolation, every door that closed in your face was being recorded not in a book, but in the fabric of your identity. What you endured without becoming bitter became the signature of who you truly are. And that signature has been recognized. Let me walk you through what was seen, because you deserve to know that your trials were witnessed, and they were not random. There was a season where you were financially pressed so hard that desperation would have been a reasonable response, and yet you refused to compromise your values to survive it. There was a relationship, a friendship, a partnership where someone you trusted completely turned on. You rewrote history made. You, the villain in a story, you tried your hardest to make beautiful, and instead of destroying them the way you could have, you let them go. There was a night quiet and heavy where you sat alone with the full weight of your life pressing down on you, and in that darkness you made a decision to keep going, not because things were good, but because something in you refused to abandon the mission, even when you did not yet know what the mission was. There was a moment where someone offered you a shortcut that would have cost someone else, and you said no. There was a time where you stood in a room full of people moving in one direction, and something in you would not follow. Each of these moments was a test. Each one was passed. And each one has been building toward exactly this. There is a classification system that exists beyond human understanding, a way that higher orders of consciousness categorize souls based on their conduct under pressure. Most souls in this system are listed as standard, not in a diminishing way, but in the way that most stars are ordinary, and that is still miraculous. But there is a category that is rarely activated, one that requires a specific combination of suffering endured without bitterness, power resisted without corruption, love given without guarantee of return, and truth chosen without audience. The beings responsible for this classification have reviewed your record, not your public record, not your resume, not your reputation among people who only know your surface, but your real record. The decisions made in private, the tears shed without performance, the forgiveness extended when hatred would have been justified. And based on that record, a designation has been given to you that is used only when something rare enough has emerged in the human experience to warrant direct attention from levels of consciousness most people never encounter in a lifetime. You have been classified as rare. You have been classified as dangerous to darkness. You have been classified as someone whose continued existence on this earth represents a genuine threat to every force that benefits from human unconsciousness. And now I want you to understand what happened in the moment you made the choices that defined you, because it did not go unobserved at any level of creation. There is an account in the spiritual architecture of reality of a moment when the divine turned its full attention to a single human soul and said, "Watch this one," not as a casual observer, but as a witness. And a witness in divine law is not simply someone who sees. A witness is someone whose observation ratifies what occurred, makes it permanent, seals it into the eternal record in a way that cannot be undone or rewritten. When God witnesses something, it means it counts forever. The archangels, those vast and ancient intelligences assigned to the architecture of human evolution, paused their assignments. The ones responsible for courage, for truth, for compassion, for justice, they all turned. And in the language that exists beyond sound and word, and thought they registered what you did. They registered who you chose to be when it cost you. And in that registration, something was set into motion that has been quietly reorganizing your life ever since, preparing the ground, clearing the path, positioning the people, aligning the timing, all moving toward the moment you are standing in right now. And now it is time, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when your circumstances improve, or your confidence returns, or the world finally makes space for you. Now, because a decree has gone out, and a decree in divine law doesn't wait for convenient timing. It moves when the conditions are met, and the conditions have been met in you. The universe, which is not an abstract idea, but a living, responsive, intelligent system that has been watching your development the way a master watches an apprentice, has issued an activation. Your true identity, the one seeded into you before this lifetime began, the one that survived every attempt to suppress it, every relationship that tried to shrink it, every system that tried to replace it with something more manageable. That identity is now being turned on at full power. The version of you that has been operating until now was the preparation. What activates from this moment forward is the real thing. And this decree carries something specific. It carries instruction. It carries authority. It carries a level of spiritual protection that means the attacks which used to reach you will now find themselves stopped before they even arrive. You have been activated, and you will never return to who you were before this moment. So let me tell you who you are, because someone needs to say it plainly and without apology. You are not a person who stumbled into spirituality looking for comfort. You are an ancient soul, one that has been cycling through human experience for longer than most souls have existed, accumulating wisdom suffering and a depth of understanding that can't be taught in any classroom or downloaded from any tradition. You are a celestial warrior. That doesn't mean you are built for combat. It means you are built to hold light in places where darkness is so thick that ordinary souls cannot survive it. You came into this life equipped with something that looks like sensitivity, but is actually spiritual radar. Something that looks like emotional depth, but is actually the capacity to feel the full frequency of human experience without being destroyed by it. You are a chosen one. I say that not as flattery, but as a statement of function. Chosen not because you are better than others, but because you are built for something specific, something that requires exactly the kind of soul you have developed yourself into through every trial you endured and every choice you made when no one was watching and nothing was rewarding you for getting it right. And now that you know who you are, it is time to understand why you are here. Because identity without mission is just information. You are not sent into this moment in history by accident. You were placed here at this exact intersection of time because the world is at a threshold, and thresholds require specific kinds of souls to hold them. Your mission is not to be famous. It is not to accumulate. It is not to perform spirituality in a way that earns applause from people still asleep. Your mission is to anchor integrity in spaces where corruption has become normalized, to anchor compassion in environments that have learned to treat people as resources, to anchor truth in conversations where lies have become so comfortable that honesty feels like an attack. You are meant to be a point of stillness in systems designed for chaos, a frequency of calm in rooms built for anxiety, a reminder by your very presence that another way of being human is possible. And this mission doesn't require a stage. It doesn't require a title. It requires only that you show up as exactly who you are, fully, without apology, without shrinking, without waiting for permission from a world that will only recognize your authority after you have already claimed it yourself. And because the mission is real, the support is real. This is the part where I need you to pay attention to what has already been shifting in your life, because the alignment has already begun, and you may have been dismissing it as coincidence. Doors that were closed are reopening, not because your circumstances changed, but because your frequency changed. People are entering your life who carry something, a resource, a connection, a piece of information that belongs to the next chapter of your purpose. Financial pressure that once felt suffocating is beginning to loosen, not dramatically, but consistently, because provision follows assignment, and your assignment has been activated. Opportunities are beginning to appear in places you stopped looking because you had been rejected there before. Rest is becoming more available to you because the spiritual warfare designed to keep you exhausted is losing authority over your energy. Your mind is getting clearer. Your discernment is getting sharper. The right people are beginning to recognize you without you having to explain yourself. These are not random improvements. These are the material expressions of divine support moving into position around a soul whose mission has been confirmed and whose identity has been sealed. But here is what you also need to understand. You were never meant to carry this alone, and you were never meant to keep it contained. The moment you stepped into your true identity, something began to happen in the people around you that you may not yet be able to fully see. Your presence started doing something that your words alone never could. People who spend time with you are beginning to ask questions they never asked before. They are sitting with themselves longer. They are making different choices without being able to explain why. They are feeling something in the atmosphere when you walk in that makes them want to be better, to tell the truth, to slow down, to look inward. You are not doing this consciously, and you don't need to. It is what happens when an activated soul moves through the world. You become a tuning fork, and everything in proximity begins to match your frequency, whether it intends to or not. The ones who are ready will awaken. The ones who are not ready will distance themselves. And that is not loss. That is pruning. You are not responsible for waking everyone. You are only responsible for being so fully yourself, so completely activated, so uncompromisingly present in your truth, that the ones who are meant to wake up cannot sleep through your presence. And you are not alone in this. Right now, in this very moment, across this world, there are thousands of souls who are receiving their own version of this activation. They are in different countries, different languages, different traditions, different circumstances, but they are the same kind of soul you are. They have endured the same kinds of invisible trials. They have passed the same kinds of unwitnessed tests. They have felt the same isolation, the same sense of being too much for some people and not enough for others, the same quiet knowing that they were built for something they could not yet name. And they are waking up right now. The network is activating. And when networks of this kind reach a certain density, when enough of these souls are simultaneously operating at full power, something shifts in the collective field of human consciousness that cannot be undone. History pivots. Trajectories change. The kind of world that seemed impossible begins to become inevitable. You are not a lone voice. You are a note in a chord that is being played for the first time in human history, and the sound of it is going to change everything that comes after it. So here is what I am asking you to do, and I am asking it not as a content creator, but as someone who understands that what just happened in this video was real, and it requires a response from you. Do not let this moment dissolve into the rest of your day like it was just something you watched. Comment the number 777 below right now. That number is your declaration that you received this, that you are claiming your activation, that you are no longer available to be the unconscious version of yourself. And they need this, and you are meant to be the one who delivers it to them. Subscribe and stay connected, because what was started here is not finished, and what comes next in this space is being built specifically for souls at your level. Thank you for listening.